I wanted to share this with you guys before we cleaned it up. It's got about 1,000 miles of road grime on it. I flew to Texas just outside of Dallas on Friday evening, drove back to Minneapolis on Saturday, got home last night about 12:30 a.m. and here it is about 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. We're excited, we're in the garage, we're looking things over. Take a peek. Just a short, brief video today, kind of introducing and welcoming the F-Type R into our garage. Guys, kind of why we chose to buy the F-Type, some of the other cars we were thinking about. But without further ado, just take a peek at it. So let's just talk through the facts of my trip home from Texas. My average speed was 76 miles an hour. I had an average of 80 miles an hour going there for a bit, but I guess as I got tired and as it got dark out, I slowed down a bit. My average fuel economy, which I'm actually pretty darn surprised, when I was doing 80 miles an hour, I was only seeing like 1,600 RPM out of that 8-speed. RPMs are staying nice and low. But my average fuel economy, 22.5 miles per gallon. I stopped for fuel 3 different times, and I got home with a half a tank still. So Texas to Minneapolis, it was a great experience. Loved the seats. Obviously, you sit in any car that long consistently and things start to get sore. So I was definitely ready to be done driving after the 14 hours. It was about 6 months of car searching before it was like we're 100% pursuing an F-Type.
I would just like to make a clip on why we chose the F-Type versus the cars we were looking at. There was one night where I was just laying in my bed and all of a sudden I got to thinking like, wow, what about the Jaguar F-Type over these other cars? I mean, think about what this car was when it came out. This car was the competitor to the Porsche 911 Turbo S. Like, that is an insane vehicle. This was the competitor to a Nissan GTR. This was the competitor to a lot of very, very high-end cars. And after thinking about it, I was just looking at reviews, looking at reliability, and all of a sudden I called my dad up and I'm like, Dad, the F-Type is the car to pick, and there's no reason. The exhaust?
Sorry.
The exhaust, the performance. I mean, this thing would blow the doors off of a BMW M4. There's no doubt about it.
M4s are no slouch. You got to give the M4 credit. That is a good car. I test drove one. I test drove one and I loved it. I did like it. I enjoyed driving it a lot. I liked everything about it.
It's an awesome car, but it's not a 911 Turbo.
It's not. No. Yeah, you can't really compare those two. And this car, and another. So we had the GTR. So we're going to talk a lot about the GTR compared to the F-Type. The F-Type's one thing I like about it, especially with the rear-wheel drive, is this is a car that you have to be mindful of driving. Like, you gotta be on point, paying attention. acceleration. You can't just stomp on the gas wherever you want and point the car and it goes like the GTR.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun to do too, but it's just different. So we had a Challenger for a lot of years, rear-wheel drive muscle car. Then we had a GTR, all-wheel drive, 600 plus horsepower, and the one we had. And I loved my Challenger. I love the American muscle. I also love the performance, both steering agility as well as kind of the feel of driving the GTR. I feel this F-Type is an awesome balance of like American muscle. Yeah, this is British, I get it. And having like an exotic, sporty, performance-oriented car. So this was the perfect balance when it came out, and the price was right. So the F-Type to me it's a car that everyone always appreciates and thinks looks awesome, and for the most part you hear positive, amazing reviews. But then when it comes time to people actually owning them, it seems like it's a car that just gets dismissed or overlooked.
Yeah, I literally can't find any videos within like the past 2 years of people with their own F-Types on YouTube.
And I was the same way. Like, I thought the F-Type was beautiful. You know, obviously, thought the exhaust was awesome. How can you not? But I never really truly considered it a car that I was going to buy. And there's a few reasons why I finally made the decision. It was fitting all my parameters. The fun factor, the horsepower, it was in my price range. And I started digging into all aspects of the car. Obviously, I'm very thankful for the individual that bought it new and the individuals that buy them new.
Yeah.
Because 5 years later, this car has depreciated over half of its original MSRP.
Which is insane because this car only had 29,000 miles.
I also was able to buy it as a certified pre-owned. So I still have 1 more year of a full warranty. Although it's not something that I necessarily care about, I do think it's fun to see people's reactions. With the GTR, we had people follow us into parking lots. I've had people follow me home. I've had you know, people hanging out the windows trying to take videos of the car, and that's all fun. That's not the purpose of owning the car, but it just puts a smile on your face is all. So I'm kind of curious to see as time goes by if the F-Type will bring that same reaction. My guess is it's not going to. Driving around today, we got an enthusiastic thumbs up out the window. I've had a few stares and whatnot, but I'm just kind of curious to be mindful of how much attention this car draws compared to the GTR. It was fun driving the car home from Texas because, you know, obviously this was $100,000+ car. And I found myself getting giddy about simple little options, when in reality it's like, why wouldn't that car have rain sensing wipers, or why wouldn't I have automatic high beams or a heated steering wheel? But I found myself like, oh yes, I was just so excited for the powertrain and the cosmetics of the car, the way it looks, that all this other stuff is just kind of a bonus. Like I don't care about any of this. I want the driving experience and the
design, shape, and
sound. Exactly.
Oh, that sound just makes me laugh.
Yeah. I found myself, so I drove more or less 14 and a half hours straight. And I found myself, anytime I was dozing off or whatever, I just lay into the throttle and I'd be awake for the next half hour or whatever until my adrenaline came back down, and then I'd do it again, and away we went. From here on out, we're going to be making videos about this car. We're going to get this car up on the lift and kind of look through some of the engineering that goes into what makes this car great. We've already taken a peek, and some of it's pretty darn cool. We'll go through reviews, things we don't like. We got a big road trip in the car planned in the near future. So stay tuned.
Thank you guys for for joining us in today's video on our new F-Type. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Press subscribe if you guys want to see more on this F-Type, because we're going to be coming out with some great content.